But let me tell you, I was exactly the same, but my heart was pumping fast. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna talk about how I overcame a fear of judgment when speaking English while being an introverted. I want to start off with asking you the question, what do you think is the successful conversation? What is a successful conversation to you? Well, some say speaking perfectly with the perfect grammar, while some will say doesn't matter as long as you deliver your message and as long as you connect with the others, that's what the successful conversation look like. But let's see whether we can redefine the meaning of successful conversation by the end of this video. So when I was working at the restaurant, I was working with a lot of chefs who couldn't speak good English, and then I was looking into why aren't they speaking good English, and one of the biggest reasons that I found was because they had the fear of speaking English, and then they sometimes run away, avoid the opportunity to speak, and cannot do eye contact, or their brain freeze, or but what really struck me is that it wasn't the grammar or it wasn't the study method that was stopping this chef to speak fluent English. It was the fear of judgment, and then they were avoiding the chance to speak. But let me tell you, I was exactly the same. When I first graduated high school, I was extremely shy and introverted, and I care so much about the other people that in my brain, when I speak to someone, what will this guy think if I say this, or what will they think of me if I make a mistake? And that was stopping me from speaking confident English and also to improve my English. So I want to share how I overcame this. By the end of this video, I hope you pick up some lessons on how you can do it too. So first thing I did was to identify my fears. I needed to know when exactly do I have these symptoms and why am I doing this? Obviously, I didn't want it to look stupid, but why didn't I want it to look stupid? I didn't want them to disrespect me. I don't want it to bother them, you know? I don't want it to disturb them because of my horrible English. And sometimes I pretended to understood the other people quite many times. It's quite embarrassing, but that's what I did to not show the other people that I was suck at English, and I was just trying to overcome that moment so that nobody knows that I speak horrible English, and then I just get to keep my secret. But here's what I realized in the end, which was that I was actively trying to be approved by those people. It was my innate desire that I was hoping to be accepted by those other people. The more I care about how I would look to the others, the worse it got. I was doing that behavior to be liked by the other people, but the more I did, I found myself I was getting distant by the other people. So I knew that I was clearly doing something wrong. I needed to do something different. And then I noticed from one YouTuber, I think it was Marwang, the fitness YouTuber that in Korea that I'm sure a lot of the Korean audience already know. He was quite famous for doing very cool stuff, you know, show really nice body and bodybuilding competitions, and everyone could look up to him and be respected and whatnot. But at some point, he changed his strategy and he started showing the real version of him. Maybe it's not, you know, it's part of him, but then it's not always him. It just shows authentic, genuine side of him. But then sometimes it could look stupid, but more people liked him. I could see the fan base was forming more stronger than before. And even I was finding him very not attractive, but more respected. You know, I found it more appealing than someone who would have tried, I want to look perfect. So from here on, I decided, why don't I be more like him? I want to be more natural, I want to be more genuine, and I want to be more real. That led to forming deeper friendship with native speakers, and that led to me not pretending to understand, which enabled me to talk deeper within some topics about whatever I was talking to with the Australians. And then I just had more opportunities to speak English because those who speak English like to spend time with me naturally. And then I spent more time with them. And then my input and output increased simultaneously. And then my English started to grow faster. Okay, the next thing I did was embracing imperfection. What I mean by that is we often try to be perfect all the time, but we can't be perfect in every field of study. But what we try to do that subconsciously rooted in our mind is that we don't want to show the gap in knowledge or intelligence. So we often pretend to understand things even if we don't understand. So we're trying to portray the perfect version of us. And because of that, it leads to disconnections and ingenuine conversation when the relationship is forming. Let's suppose you're having a conversations with your friend who you just got to know, and the friend's studying neuroscience. You know, the neuroscience is talking about anterior mid-singular cortex, which is responsible for our willpower that regulates our systems to be more resistant toward temptations and work harder towards our self. And then it goes on and explain all these concepts behind our brain. And then imagine I pretend to understand, and then, oh yeah, I heard of it and all that. You know, like, sure, the conversation could go, but it won't last long. I bet the connection will not be there. And then in less than few minutes, the friend will recognize that I'm trying to pretend, and then the conversation will end. So why not just accept it? Hey, I don't speak English, and that's fine, but I'm trying to learn. So I wish you could teach me how to speak better, or I wish you could understand me more and try speak more slowly. That approach is so much better and so much helpful for you rather than, hey, I speak good English. And then the next thing I would do is to build the self-esteem. One of the key things you need in order to be able to tell someone, hey, I'm learning English. That's why I have terrible accent and my English is lacking and my communication skill is lacking. But I hope you understand because this is my second language learning. And if you want to be able to speak like this, you actually need to have confidence and belief in you. And that really comes from the work you put in yourself in the past. If you know that you are keeping the promises and you're growing and you're improving every day, even if it's little by little, the subconscious energy and the behavior behind that, it speaks for itself. I can guarantee you that once you stick to your promises and once you start putting work in yourself and then admit where you are and then just show the other people that this is who I am and this is where I'm going, I'm learning. Today I'm horrible, but tomorrow I'll be a little bit better. Even though tomorrow I won't be perfect, but 1 year and 2 years down the track, I'll be able to speak. Then you have more confidence and you can connect better with the other person as well. Okay, the last thing I did. This is something that I continuously did, not just once, but many, many times. One day I was invited to a birthday party from my friend, and then he was Australian. And when we went to that party, it was in Bondi, right next to the beach. And when I walked in there was around 30 Australians. Those were all elite. Some of them were doctor, and some of them were in finance and investment banking. And it was just me and my friend who knows each other. And then everyone else, I had no idea who they were. When I went there, in the first 10 minutes or so, I just introduced myself to a few people and then we just talked. And you know how like most introverted people do, like you just speak to some people and then conversation stops. And then after that, that's it. You just sit in the corner and then just wait for this to be end, or maybe you decide to go home early, or maybe you go to the close friend who you know and then you just spend time with speaking to them the entire time. But what was really challenging for me is that I only had one friend who I know, and then everyone else was some random guys that I never met before. And my friend was busy talking to the other guys because he knew the other people as well. So I already spoke to one guy who was sitting next to me. It was like a big table and I was sitting there with him. And then I exchanged all the information. It was like a little bit boring conversation and then we couldn't have more conversation further. And then there were around 20 or 25 or so people were sitting alongside of the pool. You know how when you go to networking event for non-Korean event, you see the groups are forming, like 2 people here, 3 people here, 5 people here, 10 people there. It was exactly like that. So along the pool, there were like many different groups. And then everyone could watch me, that I was brand new from the group. It seems like everyone knew each other, and I was sitting there and doing nothing. And then I was just like being so conscious of like everyone's looking, you know, like I can't be just sitting here and like this. It was just like I was all in my head. And then I started to hate myself on why am I like this all the time? And I was already being aware of how conscious I am, and I was slowly changing myself. And then here I was thinking, am I going to go back home, or am I going to start talk to more people? And then when I thought of going back home, I felt like I could be a loser, you know. I probably won't be able to sleep if I go back now. I don't want to repeat the same mistake over again. I did that last time, and I didn't like the version of that of me. So I told myself, look, today you're not going home. You're going to speak to them. And then I stood up. As I stood up, I feel like everyone's watching. And then I walked towards 2 people. The 2 people were talking, and then I just struck up the conversation. I was just like, hey guys, just wanted to say hi. I'm Youngjin. And then I just shook their hand, and then they were nicely greeting me. And then after that, happened to starting to ask them the questions. So, okay, nice to meet you. What's your name? James or whatever. What's your name? Sarah. And then I asked them, well, so what do you do? And I asked them, what do you do? Like, obviously it's not the perfect questions to start off with, but I did something. That was the point. And then after that, I was leading the conversation. Usually I'm the one who just watch, and that was something completely different. I asked them, what do they normally do, or how do they know each other, and how are you spending the time here, and so on. And then we had about 5-minute chat, and then I got to know them a little bit. I felt a little bit more comfortable, but my heart was pumping fast. My heart was racing really hard, and my palm was sweating, and I was shaking, and I was trying to hide it. And then I said, you know, it was nice meeting you. It was about running out of the topics to talk about. And then I was saying, before I run out of things to say, I'm going to say bye and then go to the other table, other group. And then I said, hey, it was nice meeting you. I'll talk to you later. And then I shook their hand, and then I moved. And I went to another group of 3 people, and then I did exactly the same thing. Who are you? My name is this. How are you? How do you guys know each other? What do you do? And then after that, I felt more better, you know? Like I wasn't shaking as hard. I felt like, they actually pay attention to me, and I could lead the conversation too. And it seems like they seem to respect, even though I was shaking and I was nervous. Probably they could tell. And I even told them, hey, I'm actually nervous because I don't normally speak to the strangers often, but today I didn't want to go home alone and, you know, just ignore all the opportunity to socialize, you know. So today I just came in to say hi. So that genuine side of message, they really found it impressive, and also they liked it, and they greeted me with the open arms. And then I moved to 5 people. This time I was more nervous. I was like, holy shit, it's 5 people, it's a bigger group, and then everyone's talking, and then I'm gonna interrupt them again. So I, you know, go in there and like interrupt them, like, hi guys, sorry to interrupt, just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. I started to gain more confidence in my voice here, and then I did exactly the same, and then the same pattern. And then after that, I think it was around 10 to 15 minutes, I did run out of leading the conversation. You know, like I can't forever speak to them asking about what they do for a living. And we ran out of topics, and then they started to talk to each other. And then I was like being shifted out from the conversation. I just started to just listen to their conversation. So what I was thinking in mind was, I have 2 options. I either continue listen here and pretend to listen and understand and try to pick up some few words and pretend I relate and I can see what their point is and blah blah blah, or I can continue this and then go to that group, which was a group of 10 or 12 people. I really didn't want to go because it was like giant, massive round of people, and then they were all like loud and having fun. If I go there, I'm gonna be completely nobody, and then I didn't want to go. But I couldn't go home like a loser again, so I decided to go there and then say hi. So I went to the group, and then my heart was racing even faster. I thought I was gonna die. I really thought I was gonna die. And then when I like walked there, and my body was like whole frozen up, and then I was thinking of what do I say to start off with? Like, do I say the exactly same thing? And then all the thoughts going through my mind, and then when I got to that circle, everyone stopped talking. Everyone was like having fun and all, and then they all then stopped talking and then started looking at me. Like, they all looked at me and then waiting for me to say something. And then I was like, hi. And then I just laughed like this. But then all I could say was like, hi, nice to meet you guys. And then I realized everyone was like kind of conscious of me going through this because I'm the only stranger in the entire party. And then I made my way up to there to say hello to every group. And then, so I guess all those people were somewhat curious about what I have to say there. So when I got there, I just introduced myself. Hey, like, this is who I am, and I'm glad to be here, and it seems like a cool party and all, and looks like you guys are having fun. I didn't want it to interrupt, but here I am. And then I was just like keep talking, and then one, I think it was a girl, and then she said, hey, where are you from? And then I said, I'm from Korea. And then she's like, are you from North? And then I was like, yes, I'm from North. And then it's like, wow, I never met North Korean. And then I said, yeah, I had to escape. I'm very agile. I had to go through all the mines and swimmings, and I escaped. I'm one of the few. And then I was just doing bullshit joke that it doesn't even, I don't know. And then everyone was watching and laughing and stuff like that. After that, I realized, okay, really, there's not really thing to be scared of. All I had to do was just accept who I am and show them who I am, and completely be okay with that. I really want to encourage everyone who struggle with English right now, overcoming the fear or shy or introverted and whatnot. Hope you push yourself, believe in yourself that you can do it, and continue push yourself to challenge every time you see this opportunity. Don't see that as some fear-mongering, situations that you will get in trouble or you will experience the nightmare, but rather see it as an experience for growth. See that as an opportunity for you to learn English, and then one day you will be better. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. I try to, share as much as I could, but I'm not obviously perfect yet, and some grammar error will be here and there, but it's fine. As long as I try to connect with you guys, and I'm trying to be who I am and share as much as I could and give value to you, that's all that matters. But hey, thank you. I'll see you in the next video.